Week 4 is upon us, and I am as excited as ever for this week in Dana White's Contender Series. We have 5 matchups to cover. In this video, we are going to be covering this matchup here between Marco Tulio and Yousri Belgaroui. This is an interesting matchup because we have a kickboxer versus kind of an all-arounder, but mostly an offensive striker, I guess, whether it's on the ground or standing. So let's break this fight down. We are in the middleweight division for this one. For Tulio, he's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Has a pretty good record at 9-1 on his career. He's fighting Belgaroui, who's making the transition over from kickboxing, so still new to the MMA space, I guess. He's 3-2 in his last 5. Couple of losses on the way up, working some things out, trying to figure out the how his skills translate from kickboxing to MMA and how that's going to work in this one. So there is a height advantage on the Belgaroui side. He is 6'5", which is massive. He is gigantic. But Tulio, 6 foot, not short for middleweight or anything like that. I don't know that the height's going to be a big difference here because I do think Tulio has some experience against fighting taller opponents. In the tape study, I saw him not as the taller guy a few times, so we got to go with that. But either way, that is an advantage, and especially for a kickboxer, if he's able to keep it at range, that height is going to help. So let's start with the Tulio side. Dude's a good striker, which striking with a kickboxer is probably not the best idea, but he is a good striker. Now, he has a very dynamic attack, so you'll see a lot of things like his spinning side kick. You see a lot where he'll be coming in and then throw that, boom, stick that right to his opponent. He does a really good job of that, and when he does it, he doesn't really telegraph it the way a lot of people telegraph their side kicks, their spinning side kicks, where they're looking like this, like it's coming. He doesn't do that so bad, so that's nice to see. Does have a nice spinning back fist as well, uses that well, but he doesn't overdo the spins. You'll see me a lot of times on the channel saying I don't like how people spin all the time. He doesn't do that. He spins when it makes sense, and he does a good job with it. So I do like the dynamic attack out of Tulio. The thing I like most, though, is his forward pressure, because he's going to come forward with volume and power and try landing these big shots with the hands, land these nasty leg kicks with the legs. That's what he does. He's going to come forward, land leg kicks, throw the body kick off the teep, things like that, and then come forward with the hands and land with some pretty good power. He does a good job there. Now, in the grappling department, he has decent takedowns, and a lot of times they come at the end of his strikes, which is what you want. That's what you like to see. When he does get on top, he just kind of floats there. Now, he doesn't have like heavy top pressure, but he has enough pressure to keep you down, but also kind of floats. So when you try to move and scramble and create space, what happens is he just kind of floats on you and stays where he needs to be. It's a great technique for somebody, especially when they have a good jiu-jitsu background, which it shows that he does. He's able to do that, but he doesn't really look for submissions as much like you would expect from a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. So when he's on top, he's looking for the ground and pound. And in fact, he's got very good ground and pound. He wants to hurt you. He doesn't want to make you tap to a choke. He wants to hurt you. So going for the ground and pound, does a darn good job. If somehow he ends up on bottom from the kickboxer, he does have pretty good sweeps off his back. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'd be quite surprised if it did. I feel like if Belgaroui is shooting takedowns, then that means Tulio is piecing him up on the feet, which what world are we living in here, guys? So anyway, for Belgaroui, I think I said his name wrong just a minute ago. Bear with me. It's a hard name to pronounce. For Belgaroui, he's a solid striker. As we know, he came from that kickboxing background, fought some high-level guys there, did a pretty good job. Now, he has powerful kicks. That's the thing that we got to focus on here, because he's got a front kick up the middle that if you're standing in front of that, he's going to send you flying. It's a very powerful kick. He's got a very nasty leg kick. A lot of kickboxers come over to MMA, and their leg kicks are fantastic. You see it a lot. Does a good job with it. Makes sense. He's got that prototypical style from the kickboxer turned MMA fighter. It makes sense. Now, something else he has is these nice clean combinations, but he seems kind of hesitant to throw them at times because I think he's afraid to get taken down. I think that is the issue. I don't know for sure. I've never asked him, obviously, but that is what I would lean towards. Is the reason that the combinations don't just come flowing is he doesn't want to overcommit and start getting taken down. So he tends to stay at range when he can. When he does get in close, he ends up against the cage and landing stuff there because he feels a little safer there to avoid being taken down. So for Belgaroui, I think is how you say that, the grappling is still in development. He is training at a good gym for that. I believe he's training with Glover Teixeira over at Teixeira MMA and Fitness. That's a good place to learn grappling. We saw Alex Pereira do the same thing. Go there to learn grappling, but I don't think it's there yet. So in this matchup here, if Belgaroui is able to take this and keep it on the outside, and Tulio is stuck striking at range with him, this is a very good fight because we've got a guy who's probably the better, cleaner striker, able to use those long range attacks. against a guy who's got a very dynamic attack on the feet and not to be scoffed at by any means, but also has really good forward pressure. And the reason I'm going to make a pick the way I do make this pick is, which I'm taking Tulio, and here's why. In Belgaroui's last loss, Mohamed, last name starts with an O, something like that. When he lost to him, the reason he lost was not like, oh, he just out-grappled, this, and this. It was the pressure, the constant forward pressure that just wore on Belgaroui. There were some takedowns in there, there were some grappling exchanges, but that wasn't the thing that really put it on him. It was the constant pressure in his face, and I think that's what he's going to get out of Tulio. So early in the fight, upside for knockout here. As the fight goes on, Tulio is going to be able to get better and better and start winning the minutes, because he's going to be able to put that pressure on him, and that knockout power is going to start to fade just a little bit. So for me, I'm taking Tulio. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets knocked out in the first with a big powerful shot from Belgaroui. Would not be out of the question, would not be crazy, but I do think Tulio is the safer pick. I do think he's the better bet for your money, and that's who I'm going to be riding with this week for Dana White's Contender Series Week 4. Thanks, guys. Hit like on your way out. I'll see you next fight.